What's going on? Welcome to Insight with Irv. Look, sometimes the type of people that we listen to and who we decide to listen to may not necessarily be the type of people that we necessarily want to lend an ear to. Now, that can, like, the way that we're going to break it down in today's episode, that can go for anyone. This can go for spouse. This can go for parents. This can go for your kids, for your teammates. There's certain type of people that you want to listen to specific to where you are in your season. So let's get right into it. Sometimes you're going to get bad advice from good people, and sometimes you're going to get good advice from bad people, right? So it's kind of like a little dichotomy there, right? You have the good giving the bad, and you have the bad giving the good. So if we're going to, let's say, digest, or we're going to really break this down on, okay, Irv, how do we break down who's considered good and who's considered bad? The framework that I like to use in my mind is not necessarily, hey, this is a bad person and this is a good person, even though that's just the way that we finish breaking it down. The way that I like to view it is, in what season am I getting this piece of advice from? Here's what I mean by that. Sometimes, and if I'm honest with you, especially today, I was talking to my videographer. Hey, look, dude, I do not feel like being here. I don't feel like recording this stuff. I don't feel like putting this content out, which obviously we will put this content out. But look, we're running off of maybe 2 hours of sleep. All the kids are sick in the household. If you guys know, we have triplets, right? They literally just turned one a few months back. So the kiddos are sick. I'm running off of 2 hours of sleep, taking turns with the wife, right? And then we have Juby, my daughter, she's 4. She's also coming down with like a little cold. And so I say all that to say, today, if there's ever a day that I just want to like bundle up in bed, I just want to hang out, I just want to watch movies because I'm human too, today would be that day. But the reason why I'm telling you that is because we're still here and we're still putting out the work and we're still showing up and we're still getting our reps in, which is super important. Showing up on the days that you don't feel like it, so that 1, you prove it to yourself, and 2, you also prove it to the world. Not so it's just, hey, look at me, I'm better than you, but so that you show other people, hey, I am a person of my word. I show up even on the days that I don't feel like showing up. And so the other reason why I'm giving you guys this example here is because if someone were to tell me right now, hey, I think you should take some time off. Hey, I think that you should maybe take the day off, leave it for another day, knowing how tight my schedule is with the remaining of the day, with the remaining of the week. That right there, I would consider, hey, even though this person's probably looking out for me, this is maybe some advice that I don't want to take, right? So in that instance, they're not necessarily a bad person, but what they're giving me is not necessarily something that I want to take heed to, and it's not necessarily something that I want to hold on to. Now, I'm not going to disrespect them and say, hey, get the hell out of my office. Hey, get the hell out of my face, right? I'm going to say, okay, look, I appreciate your input, but there's just some things that we still have to do because we maybe have staff. We maybe have people looking up to us. We have people that are depending on the work that we do because maybe what we do is going to determine if they get paid or not, right? Especially as you start to grow as an organization, you have to put your feelings aside. Yes, there's times that you're going to want to rest. Yes, there's times that you're going to want to take a break. But all in all, if I'm being honest with you guys, I'd say out of the 30 days out of the year, maybe 20% of those days you're actually going to feel 100%. The other days, you'll feel 75% like you want to be there. Maybe you'll feel 15%, maybe 30%, right? So it's below that baseline. But all in all, you still have to have that fortitude to show up. Now, when starting, this is big because I know that some of you that are listening to this podcast, maybe you're starting a business. Maybe you're starting a new diet. Maybe you're starting a new regimen, right? Whatever it is. When you're starting and when you're in a place where, hey, you're just getting things kicked off, everything sounds like good advice. Like anyone can come up to you because you have no baseline. Like you have nothing yet. And so an example that I was thinking about when I was kind of preparing this for you guys was if I have someone that's obese, like their BMI is through the roof, and they are maybe, let's be real, a beer and a burger away from possibly having a stroke. Like I really want to stretch this example out. Like think of that person. You have that person in your mind. Okay, cool. If this person wants to start getting into shape, then the piece of advice for them that's probably going to work is, hey, just stop, put the beer down, or limit how much you're drinking every single day and have at least one meal at home, right? Just one meal at home and limit it to maybe one beer a day. Now, I know that still sounds like, hey, dude, he's still drinking, he's still having a burger, but wait, it gets a little bit better. And take at least 30 minutes where you can walk. And so if maybe you are taking your 1 hour break, look, after you have your lunch, take a 30-minute walk. If maybe you usually take the elevator up to your office, maybe you want to take the flight. So maybe if your office is in the 5th floor, maybe when you show up to the office, hit the staircase, right? Those little increments right there, believe it or not, number one, it's going to start changing the behavior of the person because again, they're starting from baseline. And then second, it's also going to start compounding in terms of what they decide to do with the choices that they make. Now, that's going to work for some of us if we have absolutely nothing going for us in terms of we're just starting from scratch, right? So if you absolutely suck at sales, then obviously your first method of defense or your first method to get better is going to be, hey, dude, hop on a sales call. Like you may want to start putting the books down, hop on a sales call, do a little bit of role playing with the partner so that you can get real life trench experience. Now, for those of us that are more advanced and not just, hey, I'm just in shape, right? So if you're training to maybe do a bodybuilding show, look, obviously the burgers and obviously the beer is dialed in. That's not going to be your piece of advice. So now the advice has to be more dialed in. Hey, maybe we can work our rear delts a little bit more because that's a lagging body part versus maybe your upper pecs. You see how more dialed in that is. Hey, your upper body's dialed in. You may want to work on your quads a little bit more because I noticed that your maybe quad that your quad sweep, for those of us that are a bit more bodybuilder enthusiasts, your quad sweep is a little bit more profound than maybe how your hamstrings are connecting to your glutes. You see how that right there is a bit more detailed than just telling someone, hey, you can still have a little bit of the burger, you can still have a little bit of the beer, but at least take 30 minutes to walk. Now we're really dialing it in. It's the same thing when you're running a business. It's the same thing when you're running an organization, when you're leading people. The more advanced you get and the bigger you start to become in terms of what you're building out, the more detailed advice, number one, you have to get. Number two, the more specific in terms of the people that are giving you this advice, you have to pay attention to. The way that I have it written down is this. There's going to be seasons where, or even times where sometimes taking advice or taking criticism, or I'd say advice, taking advice from a critic is going to serve you far better than taking advice from a supporter. Now, I know that sounds contradictory to what we usually think. Hey, watch out for the haters. Hey, people are my number one supporters, or this person's my number one supporter. I'm going to be honest with you guys because I think you deserve it. Sometimes your supporters are going to ride with you, whether you're doing it right or whether you're doing it wrong, just because they love you. But a critic, again, you want to pay attention to it because you don't just want to take just blind advice, right? But sometimes a critic is going to give you something that you may not want to hear. They're going to tell you, hey, dude, I think this guy's lazy. Or, hey, I think that this person, their program kind of sucks the way that it's structured. Or, hey, yeah, don't call them. Their customer service is awful, right? Sometimes there's a little bit of truth behind that criticism. Now, obviously, there's moments where it's just a blatant lie. There's moments when it's a blatant just hate. They're just hating on you. But if you look past that and you really see not just where it's coming from, but what they're delivering, and it kind of bothers you, there may be a little bit of investigation that we may want to do for the better of, again, what you're building and who you are becoming. So again, pay attention to where you're getting your advice from, pay attention from who it's coming from, and also pay attention in the season in which you're getting this piece of advice. I promise you, if you pay attention to those three things, it's going to really help you grow, not just your business, not just your income, but it's also going to help you improve your life and your habits. Once again, I appreciate you guys rocking with me in this episode. If you found value in it, we don't run any ads into our show. We literally just run off of word of mouth. And all that we ask is that you share this with someone that's looking to improve the way that they live, improve their business, and improve their relationships. Other than that, I will see you guys in the next episode. Until next time.